At the moment, this is probably the most interesting vehicle in the game. This is the first vehicle that will get a active protection system. The active protection system is good against ATGMs, although it is limited. It is unable to intercept missiles that are supersonic. I think the limit is around 700 meters per second. If something is moving above that, the protection system is unable to stop it. But this is basically a modernized version of the T55. It does have composite armor, I believe, has a stabilizer. It can launch ATGMs through the main cannon, and also does have a PvSDS ammo, as well as the active protection system that you may see in action in this video. And honestly, this is a very good vehicle. Now the second vehicle that I'll be playing today is the Object 685, a lightly armored vehicle. It is very fast, but obviously has no armor, very decent gun, does play like the Object 906, so it should be a interesting vehicle to try out. So let's see how the new Platoon performs. And I'll start with the T55 AMD. I also love how it's very easy to remember the name of the vehicle, AMD, which is the processor brand name. Yeah, that's how I'll call this tank from now on, AMD. Very interesting name, I love it. Now, how does the active protection system work? Well, technically there is an ATGM. You have to have a direct line of sight on the enemy vehicle, and it's able to intercept only one incoming ATGM. Now I've noticed that it was able to intercept some hit shells as well as PDS shells. Basically, shells that are traveling below 700 meters per second will be intercepted. Shells and missiles going over that velocity will be hitting your vehicle, which means that while it's definitely good, it is not perfect by any means, but still it is very interesting and very useful to have a active protection system on your vehicle. Now I think the armor of the vehicle is composite. If my memory serves me well, definitely should be composite. So we do have a very good frontal plate, and you can actually bounce shells. Armor wise, the T55 AMD1 is definitely a very good vehicle. It is very well armored, very well protected, and the ATGM protection is definitely going to be useful against the vast majority of ATGMs that you will face. Of course, supersonic ATGMs will go through, and of course have to remember that you have to have a direct line of sight to the enemy. If the active protection system is covered, it's not going to kick in. So the overall way how it works, I would say, is very interesting, and whoever had the idea to have a active protection system work is a genius, because I forgot at what distance it detonates. I think it detonates at 5 to 7 meters from the ATGM, which is still close, and that ATGM explosion is no joke. But nonetheless, you also do have the reload for the active protection system. I forgot how many times it's able to kick in. It's not unlimited, so you do have a limited time of charges that you have onto the active protection system. So you do have to let it reload at one point. But yeah, I mean, any protection is definitely better than no protection, that's for sure. And I've trolled so many ATGM boxes with this vehicle, since you can quite literally take 0 damage from incoming missiles, and I really like that. I anticipated this to be bugged on release, but surprisingly it works really well. Also, the ATGM is surprisingly good. I have APFSDS and ATGM. Of course I have to have ATGM, one of my favorite ammo types in the game, so yeah, I just have to have it. But having the ability to eat ATGMs is definitely very good. I'm pretty much happy with the fact that I can launch missiles from this vehicle. I think it's a smoothbore 100mm main gun, so it's a 100mm ATGM on this vehicle. How didn't that detonate the ammo? I don't know, but okay. And next shell, that should have destroyed the vehicle, but it didn't. And they are on fire. Well, this is going to be a fail. Pretty much every battle I've had with this vehicle today was a fail. I don't know why, but this is a very good vehicle. Honestly, one of the most protected tier 8 vehicles in the game, and I think this might be the only tier 8 premium. I think it's the only tier 8 premium. I kind of forgot about that. But yeah, ATGMs and APFSDS ammo on this thing is really good. It wasn't a good match, but you know, I mean, it wasn't a bad match, but yeah, it could have been better. So let's take the object for a little ride. Now this vehicle is honestly kind of difficult to play. It has no armor, it is vulnerable to high explosive, vulnerable to bombs, artillery, and things like that. But it does have a stabilized main gun, able to shoot APFSDS, APDS, APCBC, and you have HEATFS. Now I have to say something about the HEATFS ammo on this vehicle. I'm very close to recommending the heat ammo on this vehicle. The heat ammo did seem to actually do some damage when fired. So on this vehicle I do find the HEATFS ammo to be interesting. And definitely if you get the Platoon, definitely try both types of ammo. I mean, in my case I use both types of ammo. I'm still more of a fan of APFSDS, but heat so far on this vehicle did not disappoint even a single time, which is kind of funny to think about. Usually I complain about heat ammo. On this vehicle I can't really complain about the heat ammo. It does seem to work really well. Big bonus on this vehicle is the fact that the main gun is stabilized, so you can shoot while moving, and I think it should be amphibic as well, but I did not try out that myself. Should be able to swim, after all it's based on the object hull, and usually the object can swim. When I say usually, I mean not every object, but most of them are able to swim. The object 906 can swim, and I think this vehicle should also be able to swim. Does have a hull that does kind of look like a boat, so I'm assuming that it can swim. Accuracy on the gun is good. The accuracy is, I would say, really decent. With both the HEATFS ammo and with the heat-based ammo, the accuracy is really good. Now, of course, you have no armor, so you can't really play the vehicle like you would play the other vehicles. You have to rely on cover, you have to rely on speed, although in my case here I rely on cover, and yeah, that actually bounced off a shell, bounced off the track. which is kind of weird, to be honest. The main downside of this vehicle is definitely the armor. I mean, the frontal plate is sloped, and with the slope you might have a chance to bounce some shells, but at the same time I would not be relying on armor on this vehicle. I mean, it's top tier, high tier, so you can't really rely on the armor at all when it comes to the top tier here. I mean, if technically you can survive a hash shell, since it's sloped, and hash tends to be less effective on sloped armor based on the ballistic tests that I've seen, but I would not be really relying on armor at all. It does have an autoloader, 6-second autoloader, which is nice, and does have a shell ejection system. Basically, it yeets the shell out of the back of the turret the same way it also yeets the shell out on the T62. So overall, a very interesting mechanized system on this vehicle. I also love how, yeah, there's no ammo there. Okay, well, let's see. There we go. Yeah, finally. I noticed that this vehicle, this ammo on this vehicle tends to not to detonate the ammo racks when you hit them directly, which is kind of weird. But the heat-based shells usually detonate immediately. So yeah, kind of interesting how that works. Did they change something with the heat shells? I have honestly no clue, no idea. I know that they changed that a couple updates ago, but in this update I don't really think that they changed. I don't really think that they changed anything, actually. It's overall a very interesting vehicle to drive around, for sure. I would actually say that this might probably be one of my favorite platoons in the game at the moment. After all, the main tank has ATGMs. The platoon does have a fast little vehicle, this one, the object, and it has the IT1 ATGM box, which is one of the best ATGM carriers in the game, and it's one of the very few, I think the first time that we see the IT1 in a premium platoon, which is a huge win by default, since the IT1 is honestly a very good vehicle to drive around. As I mentioned before, the IT1 is probably the best ATGM box. Well, maybe the second best ATGM box in the game, since there is one ATGM box that I would actually say it's better. That's the new one, the M901. I feel like that might be the best ATGM box. So let's go back to the AMD T55. It's kind of funny because every time I see the name of this vehicle, I am reminded on AMD processors, which is funny since my PC is using AMD processor and my phone is using a AMD GPU. So yeah, and I have a AMD tank now. Usually I would go here with a IT1, go hold down, which was the smarter thing to do, but the T55A doesn't have good gun depression, unfortunately, so that's one drawback. So I can't really go behind a hill, I have to go here. No, oh look, a baguette, yeah, did hit the gunner. Oh, okay, the baguette detonated. I had so many fails, by the way, with this vehicle today. Way too many fails. It's just bad luck, really. It's a very good vehicle. And we have a... I was trying to see how the ATGM feels. The the ATGM is actually really quick. I'm not really sure how fast it moves, definitely not supersonic, that's for sure. But it's fairly fast. The ATGM does move at a decent velocity, so not, you know, not slow, does good damage. And Leopard 1 destroyed. It is definitely a good ammo choice. I mean, it's a ATGM. If I can fit a ATGM, I will fit a ATGM on the vehicle. I'm not going to complain. A ATGM is still a ATGM. It is definitely, I feel like it's a bit faster than the usual ATGM since it travels faster, so it's a bit not too difficult to aim, but at the same time, you know, it's not as easy as with a classic ATGM box, which is definitely the interesting thing. That was a long range bombing there. Did manage to destroy the Mardre one on top of the hill. The speed on the vehicle is at best average. The speed is not too slow but not too fast. I would say it might feel just right. I don't really mind the speed. It does feel decently maneuverable, does feel decently fast. Can't really complain about the speed on this vehicle. After all, it is very heavily armored, so can't complain about the speed since it does weight a lot. And we have captured all 3 zones. Yeah, this is going to be a victory. So, what do I think of the new Platoon here? Well, I mean, it's good. I mean, definitely very good. Definitely up there in my favorites. Could very well be my favorite, actually. The primary tank is a very unique tank at the moment. The first tank is a protection system. Very good against ATGMs, very good against slower shells. It does have the IT1 in the Platoon, which is the thing that's making this vehicle, this Platoon in general, very, very good is the IT1 and the T55 AMD. That's the best thing about the Platoon, and I definitely recommend this Platoon if you enjoy the T55 type gameplay, if you enjoy tanks like the Type 59, Type 69, if you enjoy vehicles like the IT1, you will definitely enjoy this Platoon as well. And with that being said, hope you guys enjoy. If you would like to support me, feel free to like and subscribe, and with that being said, stay safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.